But first, a couple of holy mackerel stories in today's news.
I don't know whether we're going to get him tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now. I really don't know. But we're going to get him. I don't care, dead or alive, either way. It doesn't matter to me.
That was President George W. Bush almost 8 years ago, speaking about Osama bin Laden. And since we didn't get him, dead or alive, Mr. bin Laden probably lives somewhere within the borders of our ally, on whose land we are fighting an unmanned, undeclared war, Pakistan. That's where bin Laden produces his occasional propaganda tape with the help of al-Qaeda's AV club, As-Sahab. 8 years after putting the get him dead or alive bounty on Osama bin Laden's head, and fresh off his motivational speaking debut in Texas, former President Bush went to India this past weekend to attend a business conference. There, he gave an interview to the Times of India, which broached the subject of Mr. bin Laden with Mr. Bush. Quoting from the Times, asked whether al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden could be alive, Bush said, quote, "I guess he is not dead." He, however, noted that bin Laden is hiding and not leading victory parades or espousing his cause on TV. Except, of course, when he is espousing his cause on TV because he's still alive and at large and making propaganda videotapes. And we're still fighting the war that Mr. Bush started 8 years ago to supposedly go get him, dead or alive. And Mr. Bush is now a professional motivational speaker. Just making sure we're all on the same page here about how this all turned out. Finally, we also have a follow-up for you. We reported last week on a proposed fundraiser to be held by supporters of Scott Roeder, the man accused of murdering abortion provider Dr. George Tiller. In an effort to raise money for a legal defense fund, these supporters announced plans to auction off radical anti-abortion ephemera and souvenirs on eBay. The Tiller family's lawyer, Lee Thompson, said on this show a week or two ago that if such a fundraiser occurred, he would ask Kansas's Attorney General to seize those funds to use them to support crime victims. Now, eBay said publicly that such an auction would violate eBay's policy prohibiting the sale of offensive items, and yet this weekend 9 items went up for sale on the auction site. That included a megaphone autographed by Regina Dinwiddie, who has supported the use of force in anti-abortion activism. Also a manual for the so-called Army of God, an organization that called Roeder an American hero. A book written by Paul Hill, who murdered an abortion provider and was executed for having done so. An original drawing that is signed by Scott Roeder. Did I say Paul? What did I say? Paul Hill. What did I say? I said Scott Roeder. Paul Hill, excuse me. Sorry about that. A cookbook of recipes you can make in prison, written by the woman who shot Dr. Tiller in 1993 before Scott Roeder allegedly killed him this year. Another book which promotes violence against abortion providers and facilities. Some anti-abortion bumper stickers. This inexplicable painting of a red fox. Yeah, I don't know why that should benefit Scott Roeder. And, of course, more creepy, fanatical anti-abortion drawings that are signed by Mr. Roeder. We took these screen grabs from eBay earlier this morning. Since then, a representative from the auction site confirmed that each and every one of these auctions has been taken down. They told us, quote, "Today, eBay removed several listings on our site that violated several of our policies, including our offensive materials policy. This policy prohibits items that promote or glorify hatred, violence, racial, sexual, or religious intolerance, or promote organizations with such views." Though it is clear now by the fact that these things went up this weekend that these folks trying to support Scott Roeder are going to do whatever they can to get around the ban.